Welcome to Tammy Nation. Let's go.
I've been running from 9 to 5, been biting my tongue for all this time. Won't let anyone cut me short. I was thinking this was the way to go, and you put up your puppet show. I say cheers to life. No, I'll be no good man. Just leave me alone. I'm running the show. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. No, you better go home.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to Tammy Nation this evening. I decided to pop on and do a show I've been wanting to do for a long time now about the children and the different things that are going on against our children. So I'm going to do that tonight. I might have to use, code words, as we know, because we have to protect ourselves from trying to not be taken down. So I'm going to do the best I can, but I put together the show. I've been putting it together on and off. And the information that I found has really only been over the last 2 weeks. There's so much information out there and different things that are happening with the different indoctrination of the children. It's actually overwhelming and disturbing. But I was out with a friend today who has eight grandchildren, and they're all under the age of 10. And we started talking about this topic today. And she said, Tammy, I've heard of things on and off, but I've really never seen anything about it. It's like, it's one of those things that, she's not involved with social media very much at all. And she gets her information. She's a very conservative person, gets her information, just from word of mouth. And her grandchildren and children are in Georgia, and some are in, hey, Faila, good to see ya, and Chicago. And as far as she knows, some of this stuff is not happening with her children or grandchildren in their schools. So when I started showing her some of this information, she was just appalled and disturbed and disgusted. She just couldn't believe that this was actually a thing, real. I think that's what happens with a lot of people. You hear different things in the world that are going on, and you say, well, it's not that bad, or maybe it's just word of mouth, and really maybe it's only in one or two places. But then when you actually see the different things going on, you kind of get woken up to it, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is like a lot bigger of a deal than I thought. It starts off as like a harmless little thing with children doing dance school or doing these beauty pageants, and then it turns into what it is now, in my opinion, because as we know, the clothing and stuff for dance competitions, it just kept getting skimpier and skimpier. These kids that are under 18, these children, and then the same with beauty pageants. I said before, I don't think for children under the age of 18, young adults, you need to have bathing suit competition in these pageants that they have. So you may agree with me, you may not. The point is, this is what's going on out there. And, I just think that it's an attack on our children. And I think there's a lot of people agree, because the different things that are being said and done and taught to our children, there's no business in it. I can't find one benefit to children learning about this kind of thing. So the first thing I want to start off with is we talk about the different kind of camps that we've heard out and about that they have for these children. One of these camps is in California, and it just recently passed, and it was a kids drag workshop. And this camp was for kids as young as 8 years old. And in this free camp, it is free because they said what you can do is you just pay what you can afford. You don't have to pay a certain amount, just whatever you can afford. And you're going to get a drag class for your kids. And that includes a drag kit. That includes makeup, wigs. It says fabulosity, and a live show. It says queens, kings, and non-binary royalty. And all you have to do is register. And like I said, It's a pay what you can afford program. So if you can't afford it, they're not going to keep you from going there. So yes, it was adult males and dressed as females that were performing, and these kids were performing at this camp, and the camp was for a weekend, and there's many other these that are going across the country as well. There is another one that actually this is in British Columbia, and this is called it's called Carousel Theater for Young People. You can go to the website. It's actually carouseltheater.ca. And what it is it's a junior drag camp, and it's going to run July 4th through 7th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's $460, and the ages are 7 to 11. Or you can have your children join the teen drag camp, which is July 4th through 7th and July 10th through 14th. Now that camp is $900, and it's ages 12 to 17. And also the good news is the tuition includes drag makeup kit. So in this description for this, you guys, it says, do you enjoy expressing yourself through clothing, makeup, and performance? Do you have an alter ego that is just waiting to hit the stage? Our new 2-week senior drag camp might be just your cup of tea, honey. Led by some of Vancouver's established and emerging drag artists. You'll learn how to access your inner confidence, show your true colors, and maybe even let out that inner diva. So it says, join some of Vancouver's most amazing drag artists and learn how to drag. The drag can brighten up your life. You might be wondering, is drag for kids? Well, guess what? Drag is for everyone. Parents, ask yourself, what's the difference between what you wear at home versus what you wear at work? You're doing drag, honey, and you just don't know it. It says all the students will be provided with a drag makeup starter kit, and then more details will be provided later on. But I think that is so disturbing to have seen that. And when you actually seen, hey, Sharon, hey, Donna, it's good to see you here too. It is disgusting. And when you see it in print and you see the amount of money and you see, like I said, I just read the description. I couldn't believe it. I don't understand in a lot of this country, in this world, the so-called normal conservative people like us don't understand why you have to include children. Okay. We're called crazy, or we're called not inclusive because we don't want our children involved in any of this stuff. Well, it's indoctrination, it's conditioning, it's programming, it's confusing. It's just ridiculous to me. Sometimes I don't even have words for half of this stuff that's going on in this world now. But, anybody that's taking their kids to this, and let alone free or paying the money, I just don't understand it. I really want to try to understand what these parents are thinking with these children, why they think this is going to be beneficial in their lives. To me, it's way more confusing. All of us are adults, and a lot of the adults are confused with what this is going on and why are they are offering this to these children. But I have a belief, and it is my opinion, that basically the attack on the children is a spiritual attack. It's an educational attack with what's going on in the schools, some of the schools with the books and the programs that they have in the schools. It's a visual conditioning as well. Just accept anything and everything. It doesn't matter. There is no boy, there is no girl. You can be whatever. And it's also celebrity conditioning, because I'll get into that as well, because there's a lot of celebrities that are saying they're allowing their children at birth to not choose whether they're male or female, to allow them to choose when they get older, or they're just not going to identify them as either. Plus, there are some celebrities that have come out and their children have transitioned into opposite sex, and they're supportive and they say, okay, isn't this great? And then what happens is children that see that, they look up to the celebrities. They look up to the who's who in the famous world, whether it's, I've said before, musicians, whether it's models, whether it's actors, whether it's actresses. And so what happens is these kids see these people that they look up to doing it, and then they think it's okay for them. And then, as we know, it's just a slippery slope because it goes into surgeries and everything else. Garrett, my point is leave the children alone and don't push it in the children's school, period. Yeah, leave the children alone. Yeah, I agree with you. 18 and under, it's very unacceptable to me. And it's a broad brush that they're painting this with. Like I said, it's attack on a spiritual level, a visual level, an emotional level, an educational level. I showed my friend today one of the books that is in an elementary school that is being read to the children, or they can check out of the library. And, it's very graphic, and it shows these kids how to do different physical things on people. It also is very graphic in the verbiage. Some of the stuff is so disturbing. I can't even say the words. When I showed my friend this today, she was so upset. She couldn't believe it. She read some of the excerpts to the book, the actual book, and she was like, I can't believe this. She hasn't even heard of some of this stuff. And it's for elementary school. So she was, like I said, she was really upset about this, but I think it's really important, as uncomfortable as this is, as much as some people want to bury their heads in the sand, when we look at, like I said, the broad brush that they're doing, because they're coming at children in all these different ways, it's hitting them at every level. And, growing up is confusing enough for adults. Children have enough hard time. I can't imagine being a child, and that's what she was saying, being a teenager and a child in this generation is so stressful, and it's so confusing, because if you want to be what was deemed as normal, where you just believe, you believe in God, you believe in male and female, and you believe in right and wrong, and you believe in competitiveness of the same sexes and competitions, and not everybody gets a trophy, everybody has a participation trophy, you are considered the abnormal. You are considered the person who is not agreeable. You are considered a person that is not tolerant, and you're considered someone who attacks other people. And it's just wrong. And it's just time to put our foot down with this. Donna, I am not in favor of any of this, and I get tired of groups trying to shove this in everybody's face. My family only looks to God. Amen. And God does not approve of this either. He says in the Bible, it's male and female. That's it. There was another transgender person that was on Twitter today, and she was coming out and saying, if you label your children male or female, you're doing a disservice and you're confusing them. We're not the ones demanding anything. We're just letting them express themselves. We're letting them express who they are, and we're accepting them. We don't care who they think they are. We believe them when they tell us who they are. And you are the ones, as parents, suppressing these children, telling them that they're a boy or a girl. You're the ones that are doing the damage. And I thought, how crossways is this, that you come out and say this publicly? This is how deranged some of these people are. They think that we as the parents are wrong. Now, I'll tell you what, when I see a bearded man that is a woman that is becoming a man, and they're trying to breastfeed a child, that visual that I see is confusing to me. What does that do to children? It's so, and if you want to be a woman, why are you still looking like a man having a beard, breastfeeding? I don't get it. I don't want to get it. I don't want to understand it. And like I said, you may not agree with me. You have a right to your opinion, but I would love to hear how people that support that justify that, and how it makes sense to them. Growing up is very, very confusing. Garrett says, even trying to drag people to children's schools to read books to them or introduce them to drag people is sickening. There is also, and I wish I could show some of these videos and these pictures, you guys. I really wish I could. I guess if I did and took it down and let it go to Rumble, that would be okay. But I still don't know how to do that. My Rumble is attached to my YouTube. So when I do a YouTube, it does upload to Rumble on its own. But I have to wait for it to upload, or I lose the whole show, which has happened to me recently with a show. So for now, until I get used to that, I thought at least I can talk about it. But this person, it was a drag queen, came out and said, there is no reason why any child should be involved with any drag queen show. A drag queen show has everything to do with adults. It is adult verbiage. It is adult content. Is it adult visuals? And there is no benefit to having children at these shows. So I do commend, and I will give credit. I'm not blanketing everybody saying that they all want the children involved, but this drag queen came out publicly and said, I don't agree with this in any way, shape, or form. She said in the back room, there's all these adult things going on, and should a child come back there and some of the stuff that a child could see, she goes, he said it's very unacceptable. So I think that's wonderful that the people that are adults that is their thing to do, will come out and speak against it, because they know a child's innocence is just that. A child does not pick what the child wears to school half the time, their bedtime. They can't pick how long they can stay on video games. We don't allow them to pick what they eat every day, that what they take to school for lunch, but we're going to allow them to choose what sexuality they are. And we're going to allow them to have life-changing surgery under the age of 18. And we all know hormones and testosterone, those chemicals are real, okay? And they affect you. When you look at a woman, and when she hits her cycle, those hormones go off. And, men can laugh about it, and I'll laugh about it a little bit too. Women have a little bit of mood swings when it gets to be that time of the month, right? So by you saying you're giving these children blockers, hormone blockers, that it's going to allow them to not advance, or it's going to turn, the male is going to turn female, et cetera, et cetera. Can you imagine the amount of mental damage and confusion that is causing? Because women naturally have these chemicals. Women's body knows how to have a cycle and come out of it. Then you start, I won't even get into menopause and the chemical imbalance that happens in women, and men have it too. They call it midlife crisis in men, but men also have changes that occur, and our bodies are attuned to know how to handle those. And we still have issues at times where we can't sleep. We have the hot flashes, we have the anger, we have all this stuff. And sometimes we need medicine to help us through these natural changes. So when you are trying to stop that from happening, or change a man to a woman or a woman to a man, and you're feeding them all these medicines, I don't care if it's under a doctor or not, or they agree with it or not. Can you imagine the mental instability and confusion that causes them? Because it's not natural. What they're going through is not natural. And that medicine is not going to be able to camouflage it. And, another opinion I have, and this is just my opinion, with the males becoming females and then wanting to compete in female sports, I'm totally against that. I'm totally against females becoming males going into male sports too, but you don't seem to see as much of that. You are still a male. And my thing is, and I'm sorry, but the truth is, and the truth hurts sometimes, these males that become women and compete in women's sports, it's because they couldn't compete and to their success level in men's sports. Because if you're a man that wants to become a woman, wouldn't you want to stay away from the men's sports? But we see how the men dominate the women's sports, right? We see how they have competed and they've won and broken records just by, milliseconds or seconds, with some of these women taking the records away from these women. A true man that wants to become a true woman will stay away from the men's sports. A true man that wants to become a woman will wear the makeup and feminize themselves up. They will not stay masculine looking with a pair of you-know-what on top. Because I actually know somebody that did transition from male to female, and they lost the drive to wear makeup and be feminine, but they still like women. Even though they're a man that became a woman, they still like women. So listen to me try to explain this. And I'm a grown adult, and I've seen this person go through all this. It's an acquaintance. And so when it comes to children, I can't get it. And you know what? This person is still not happy. And I do. Hey, Harvest Mary Moon, pray for Taiwan. They're getting ready. Okay. We'll pray for them, Harvest Mary Moon. Yes. Exactly. Garrett and Donna, they don't know people that grew up, Tammy, generations grew up knowing there were only two sexes, and I've never met anyone that said their bringing left them confused. Yes, absolutely. Um, that's true. But that's what I'm saying. It's the slippery slope that starts, and it starts with just making it acceptable or somewhat normal on an adult level, and then we sink lower and lower, getting into the children's level, into even babies and infants. And that is what is really got under my skin. Hey, Susie, it's good to see you too. So it is very disturbing. It's wrong. And I just don't understand what's the limit going to be? What is going to be the stopping point? Obviously, it's not the surgeries. We've got these doctors that are posting pictures of these young children under the age of 18 that have had surgeries with bearing their scars, like the girls that became boys and they have the scars across the breast because the breasts got removed. And they said, great for this kid. What is going to, my concern too is, you guys, what's going to happen when these kids start growing up? These 10, 12, 14-year-olds go into adults. What's going to happen then to them? Are they going to be perfectly happy? And I'll tell you what, if there were a testimony to some of these trans people and stuff, that they're the happiest they've ever been, that, life is good, I'm glad I did this. How many times have we seen these people, the majority of them are still angry. They're so angry. They want to wipe women out. They want to be the people that, oh, we're all accepting and, you should accept everything, but they want to wipe women out. It's ridiculous. You're not allowed to be a woman and say, hey, I'm offended. I'm offended that you, mister, just because you think you're female, you think that you know what having a cycle is like, that you think that you know what having all the pains that a woman goes through, childbirth, what that's like. You can't do that. Just because you think you're that doesn't mean I have to believe that you are. I can say I'm a tree. And does that mean you've got to call me an oak or a maple, depending on what kind of tree I say that I am? Just because I believe that in my mind doesn't mean you have to believe that. So that's what I have a problem with, is it being pushed down our throats, that it's all over the place, that we are the bad people, that we want to stand up for our feminism. I enjoy being a female. You can say, you're glittery. I wear glitter. I wear heels. I wear makeup. I wear, fingernail polish. I enjoy being a female. And you're not going to knock me down because I enjoy being a female. How dare you? And I don't have to call you a female, because a lot of these people you look at, they don't look female at all. There's a reason for that. There's male and there's female. It's very simple. Hello, Wanda. It's good to see you. Irony, we all needing to watch our words for normal stuff. Exactly. While deviants can come on here, toss their goodies all over the place, and that is celebrated. Holy moly, just like the Bible said. Yeah, the Bible did warn us that when we have good for evil and evil for good, that's a problem. And it truly is a problem. Let's get into another part of this. This was even worse to me. There is a show that is called Naked Education. Okay, it's on Channel 4 in the UK. And it's a show. They're calling it body positive programming. And what the show is grown adults are stripping nude in front of children. Why they sit there behind their desk and they stare at the naked bodies. This program is youth participants aged 14 to 16. And while they're filming this, they're showing the expressions of these 14 to 16-year-olds responding to seeing these varied naked bodies of these adult men and women, all the different bodies, shapes, and forms. Now, they did play only one of the shows so far, and apparently they've received over 1,000 complaints about this from viewers saying this is disturbing, it's disgusting, because it's a 6-part series about this. And what they're saying they want to do is the producers are saying that it was a bid to show what different bodies look like and to help quell people's insecurities. The second episode, which aired yesterday, was focused on male bodies and saw a discussion about the man's body part size. So each episode discusses and shows these children's responses to the different types of bodies. And like I said, the second one is talking about the males, you know what size is it, what shape is it, and all this kind of stuff. It's then these kids, these poor kids were just mortified. It's like they it's like they're thinking, what the heck is happening? What am I witnessing here now? So my thing is, again, it's the parents. The parents got to give permission for these underage children to experience this. Yet, and I don't understand why they think that it's okay. So the full series obviously hasn't been aired yet. There's 4 more episodes, but apparently there's a lot of viewers that are calling in, thank God, saying, "Hey, we want this taken off the air." There is you can stream it online, however, so there's still a way for people to watch it. But so they're facing all kinds of backlash for doing this. And I'm just glad that some of the parents and some people have reached out and contacting the programming people saying we need to take it down. Basically, too, people are saying that one of the Mrs. Richardson is the programming lady. She came out and said that if you're curious about your body and your life's journey, whatever that may be, then tune in. We all need connection right now. So this programming person named Mrs. Richardson is saying, listen, we all need to connect some way. So let's connect here emotionally, joyously, sharing, normalizing all the body types and break down stereotypes and all our differences, and see that once we have all these taboos put aside of the different shapes and colors and sizes, then there's nothing to worry about anymore. And I think that's totally disturbing and disgusting. I don't know anybody that's would be comfortable hanging out, watching that, looking at that. You know, we had a sex education program in school when I grew up, and we didn't learn half of what you can see on the internet or TV as it is now. You know what I mean? Yeah, Harvest Mary Moon, I believe that too. Unfortunately, but we can fight back. We can try to educate people. We can try to share things, even though they're uncomfortable. You know, I've said before, it's a time to do that. My passion is to protect the children and expose this kind of stuff, so to speak. Like I said, my friend that I showed some of this tough stuff to, she was mortified, and she's like, you know, she goes, we're just spiraling down. It's like a cesspool. And I said, well, you know, you have to have faith. You have to pray, and you have to keep the faith, and you can't let the evil and the darkness win by letting you spiral down. You just try to stay strong, and you pray, and you ask God, what can I do to make a difference? What would you have me do? And whether that's sharing the information or whatnot, just educating maybe her children about this, her grown adult children that have children in school, because people's lives are busy. When the people, mothers and fathers working, both of them working, having young children in school, it's not always easy to pay detailed attention to everything, especially the environment we are in this world these days. So if you can just bring that information to them and show them so they can be aware, I think it's very important, because people may hear something and they just don't have the time or don't think it's a big deal, or like, yeah, but it's not happening near me. It's not happening to my children. Because remember, we always say that person over there is, you know, going to get robbed. That person over there, that's not happening in my part of town. People aren't hurting the police in my part of town. That's happening over there. When it's in your own backyard, then it's almost too late, right? Then you're surprised and you're like, how did this happen? So if we can try to get a step ahead of it, and it's like some of these parents are doing across the world and starting to protest it, or going to the people, the representatives about it, and saying, we don't want this here, or report to the TV programming channels, we don't want that kind of TV programming, that is something that we can all do. The other section of this that I wanted to bring up as well is the celebrityism of this. So, okay, we all know about Harry Potter and how many children look up to Harry Potter. Well, Daniel Radcliffe came out yesterday, and he tells trans children that adults concerned about gender transitioning are condescending and should trust the kids to tell them who they are. And he's making another dig at J.K. Rowling because J.K. Rowling came out against all this kind of stuff. And we all know that she's the one that wrote all the Harry Potter stories. She's the reason he is who he is, Harry Potter, because he played that character in the movies that were based on all her books. So it was shocking to me that Daniel Radcliffe came out and was talking to trans children saying the adults are condescending and should trust kids to tell them who they are. No, they should not, because kids do not know who they are. Adults at the time of 1825, adults technically don't know who they are. So once again, all the younger generation that love Harry Potter, that see him making a comment like this once again is going to be conditioning and letting them know, hey, this celebrity I look up to says it's okay, so it must be okay. And we know that teenagers don't want to listen to their parents as it is. They follow some of these celebrities, and this just makes it even worse. This is just fueling the fire even more. And as a result of this, as I say, everything's a chain reaction and it's all interconnected. Now, Harry Potter fans are vowing to boycott HBO TV series, which is based on the books over J.K. Rowling's views on the trans debate and gender identity. So now here's the Harry Potter fans are going to boycott this TV series. And what is that called? That is called cancel culture, right? We hear it about different things, that if you don't agree with my views, then we're going to cancel you out. We are supposed to shut up and stay quiet and mum on all this stuff. We're supposed to just accept it into our lives, act like nothing's going wrong and everything's going to be okay, that these people, celebrities or trans people, know more about our children than we do. And that's where we're going to hell in a handbasket, in my opinion. It was so disturbing to me. Another celebrity thing that happened today, let me get a drink of this. Yeah, Harvest Mary Moon. I'm going to bring that up too. Yep. Christina Aguilera came out, I think it was on Instagram or her Twitter or whatever it was, and she recently got her nails done. And they're long, pointy white nails. And I'll give you two guesses on what she had painted on her nails. I'll just say it's a body part. Well, you can't really type it in there, can you? I'm just mentally guess. Those of you watching, you don't have to type it in chat. Christina Aguilera came out and was bragging about her nice white pointy nails, and she has red female lower front body parts painted on her nails. The V word. I'm not going to say what it is because obviously, but you know, this show is for adults. I labeled it as adults. I do have it in my YouTube as 18 and over. But the thing is, so I'm thinking, what point are you making? How is this women empowerment? How is this anything good to paint a woman's body parts in red all over your fingernails? It's like, it can't get any more graphic or disturbing or disgusting to me. So there's another celebrity, and once again, programming and conditioning, because there's going to be some teenage girl saying, yeah, I'm all about this. And I'm going to go get that done. It's just, why does it have to be so vulgar, graphic, sexualized? Why does it have to be that way? Because I believe that the devil is running rampant. I believe he knows his time is short. And I believe that he knows he's already lost, but he's going to try to take away as many souls and as cause as much destruction as he can while he's here on this earth. I never could imagine some of the stuff that we're seeing and dealing with today through adulthood, even, let alone the children. Yeah, exactly. The name of the four. Very good. That's very funny. The Anheuser-Busch thing, like Harvest Mary Moon is saying. Okay, so this Dylan person, who is a male, a tiny male, thin male, who's claiming to be female now, also the one that went to the White House and all over his TikTok, showed everybody getting dressed and what he was going to wear and the purse and the heels and how he was going to do his hair. And then he went to the, White House and documented to that. It was disturbing. Well, because now Anheuser-Busch for the Bud Light controversy, having him in a bathtub, paying him, I think it was 100,000, I believe it was, just to have a Bud Light in the bathtub. They have lost $5.6 billion in value since this controversy with Dylan came out, because everybody is boycotting Anheuser-Busch, the Bud Light controversy. So this Dylan person, I didn't even want to say his name because he's all over the place now, is also the spokesperson for Tampax. Hey, Christopher Sandor, long time no see. So here it is. He's a young male, pretended to be female, and he's the spokesperson for Tampax. Like he has any idea what in the heck any of that's about. And that's what I'm saying. It's an attack on women. It's a complete insult. It's a complete wiping out of everything that a woman goes through in her life to be able to have children. All the female, like I said, hormones and changes she goes through her whole life. Women are superheroes. Men cannot do what women do physically. They aren't made to do that. We all know that most men, and I'm sorry to knock you this way, men, but you know that it's true. When you're sick, you're big babies. You don't want to be bothered. And heaven forbid if you get cramps, if you have stomach issues because you ate something bad. Whining, screaming, and crying like there's no tomorrow. So imagine having, childbirth. Childbirth or having your cycle every month. You can imagine. The closest thing that I saw was they have that machine out, the electrode machine, that you can actually give electroshocks to men as supposedly emulating a woman having contractions before childbirth. And there's different levels up. And I've seen pictures on the internet about these men doing this, and it cracks me up because it's like a 1 to a 9. And they turn it up to a 2 or a 3, and these men are screaming, and they can't even handle the minute-long contraction. It's barely there, and it tightens their muscles up and makes them contract. It simulates contractions like in childbirth, and that's about the closest that men that I've seen can even get in any way, shape, or form. Kidney stones too, Harvest Mary Moon. That's a good one. Yes. And men trying to go through that is crazy. Hi, Robert Lawrence. Good to have you here as well. They have no idea. So for this boy going out pretending he's a man, selling Tampax, and Tampax paying him tons of money to do it, is disgusting and disturbing. And there is no reason for it whatsoever, because this person does not know what to do with it. And there's no place for that person to stick it to use it properly. And that's about as vulgar as I'm going to get. But this person, Dylan, also is the new face of Nike. If you haven't seen it yet, Dylan has been paid for commercials where he's dancing around in leggings, doing these little moves with his tiny little body there. And he's wearing a woman's sports bra, flatter than the day is long, because he doesn't have a chest. He's not a woman, okay? He's a man, a young man. And he's wearing leggings. And Nike has said that he is the new spokesperson for their women's sports bras and their leggings. Like I said, we're not supposed to be upset about. Yes, that dude is a walking cartoon, pathetically ridiculous. However, this is the concern. That is very true. But he is getting ridiculously rich and ridiculously famous over this. And what concerns me is the children or the teenagers that think this is hip and cool or want to be rebellious will buy into it. And it's just selling them the visual, the acceptance. They're trying to normalize it. A man hopping around in a woman's sports bra, leggings, holding a Tampax box is a perfect description of insanity to me. Anybody that thinks that's okay and justifies that and thinks that's the way we should be has to be a little bit off too. And sorry if you don't agree with me, but I am not going to hold back my moral standards and values to accommodate that kind of insanity. No way, no way. Hey, Steve, it's good to see you too. Hello, Kim. It's an attack. It's an attack not just on our children, but on us. Why should we support Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch when they're shoving that down our throat? Also, Hershey just went through a whole thing because of promoting, I think it was this person too, as their face of that. Don't forget, we had to take Uncle Ben's rice, we had to change that. We had to change Aunt Jemima, the syrup. Mrs. Butterworth, we had to slim her down. So all that's offensive, but a man portraying a woman selling women's products shouldn't be offensive. It makes no sense. It's very lopsided to me. It's very lopsided to me. And, you start looking back at all the different products and the changes they've made on these products. I remember big boy restaurants, and that even they wanted them to be slimmed down because Big Boy was always, you guys remember him? He was in the red and white checkered overalls and the white t-shirt, and, the Slim Jim from Big Boy. And, he'd hold up, they had strawberry pie and stuff. I don't know if that was just a Northeastern thing or what, but there was controversy about that because he shouldn't be called Big Boy. I mean, it's just unbelievable to me. I mean, it's like paying attention to this stuff makes you feel like you're going absolutely crazy. It really does, because these big companies should know better, right? They have all the monies. They have all this. Why wouldn't they use a different spokesperson, a spokesperson that represents the average American that uses their product? You're going to tell me this Slim Dylan boy that is man becoming females drinking a lot of Bud Light, that's good spokesperson? You have to be very careful in who you choose to represent your product. Product identity is a big deal. So, seeing something like that, once again, it hasn't been that long since Dylan has been the spokesperson, but to lose $5.6 billion in your value with your market stocks going, that's pretty intense. So it'll be interesting to me to see if they keep it around or not. You know what I mean? Keep them around. And the other thing I wanted to talk about, you guys, if you saw this, maybe you didn't, was the whole Dalai Lama ordeal. Okay, so when I say they're attacking our children educational wise with the books and the drag queens and the transgenders reading books or dancing or taking them to these different camps, okay, that's the visual and the educational. Then you've got the celebrity aspect that we covered as well. Now the spiritual is coming out, where the Dalai Lama came out, and I don't know if you saw it or not, but the Dalai Lama was actually telling a child on video, he was kissing the young boy on the lips at a Buddhist event, but then he stuck his tongue out and he said, "Suck my tongue." That is so disgusting to me. So people are coming out defending this with the Dalai Lama, saying, well, it's tradition to stick your tongue out, that the Dalai Lama was just playing and having fun, that's what he's done. He's teasing. Well, apparently in the Buddhist tradition, sticking your tongue out is part of the tradition, but sucking the tongue is not. And this poor boy in the video that I saw looked very uncomfortable, did not want to do it. And I cannot believe it actually happened. So the Dalai Lama put out on his Twitter, or a representative did, and this is the comment he made. A video clip has been circulating that shows a recent meeting when a young boy asked His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, if he could give him a hug. His Holiness wishes to apologize to the boy and his family, as well as his many friends across the world, for the hurt his words may have caused. His Holiness often teases people he meets with an innocent and playful way, even in public before cameras. He regrets the incident. So that's the statement the Dalai Lama put out, or his people put out for him. Excuse me. Yes. It was disturbing. It was sickening. And like I said, it's the visual, it's the spiritual. How many people across the world saw that? You don't think the kids that will make fun of him now for that, this young boy, and saying awful things? You don't think that imprinted into that boy's mind? What's going to happen to him? To me, he's going to need therapy. Is he going to get therapy? If he's so innocent, why did he apologize? By the way, he ain't holy. Yes, I agree with you. The damage was done for Harvest Merry Moon, and it is their power. It is, they openly act out. They're very confident. They have all these people that back them. It is the elites backing each other. There was also, I want to cover this too. With CNN, one of the people Rolling Stone columnist Jay Michelson said from CNN said that meeting the Dalai Lama, he's defending this, was one of the most powerful experiences he's ever had in his life. And he claims the Dalai Lama's actions were not sexual. He said the Dalai Lama is a very playful human being, and we may see this is a weird kind of gross sexualized way, but this is about as sexual as a bowl of plain rice, he claimed. There is nothing sexual or erotic happening in this encounter. He says that he claims that the Dalai Lama was showing an aura of love and kindness in the video. So he was a CNN panelist. He actually was defending it. So I have to give credit to CNN anchor Allison. She pushed back saying the boy's body language showed the boy doesn't want to do it. And that's true. It's very obvious this boy wanted to have nothing to do with that. But for this guy to come out and defend it and say, because I met him, it was the most emotional, the best meeting I've ever had with him. And he's a great guy and he likes to play around. And, it was no big deal, is very disturbing to me. So once again, here's somebody that adults look up to or teenagers may look to, and he's coming out saying this was okay. Brush it off. No, what happens is when these people get called out on the atrocities they commit against children, they say, oh, it's in the sake of art. It's in the name of art. It's in the, oh, we're just playing around. We don't mean any harm. No, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. In the workplace, males can't even touch females and females can't touch males because then they have the human resources all over them. So what makes it okay for the Dalai Lama to do something like that to a child on the World Forum in front of everybody? It makes no sense to me. Shoni's name in the South. Let's see. Let's go back to chat a little bit. Busch Gardens in Florida will probably go out of business too, and the Clydesdale for parades. Very good point. Yep, Donna, very good point. Like I said, chain reaction. Everything's interwoven and intermixed, right? They may very well do it, but if, the elites want to buy them out or help save them, they'll fund it to keep them going. You know what I mean? Because we know that, with Disney, a lot of different things with Disney aren't on the up and up too. There's been things brought out about them, and it hasn't been very good with that either. So we just really have to pay attention. And when you put all this together, it really doesn't take a whole lot of effort to put this kind of stuff together. It really doesn't. It is getting that bad and that much out there, that was widespread, that you don't have to look very hard or very far to find this kind of information. And you can see it's at every different angle. And the other thing about art, I want to say, we all know about the art that we've seen that's been around for a while, right? That was hanging up in celebrities' houses and things like that. Well, there's another person that has a form of art out that I can't even pronounce the name, but it was shown on Twitter. There's this lady named Natalie on Twitter that dealt with her own kind of abuse, and she's after these people to expose them. She's the one that exposed that Valencia place with the children and the different kind of attire they were showing with children. I don't want to say too much, obviously, but the Valencia thing. So this lady on Twitter brought out another female artist, and it's different celebrities have this art. And what it is it's cartoonish kind of art. And it's toddlers. I say it's like a boy and a girl, probably. They look around the ages of 8 to 10. And what they're doing is actually dismembering infants on a table, and in the art, it actually shows that they've done it, and it's very graphic. So when you look at this art, I behoove anybody to explain to me how I'm not understanding the meaning in this kind of artwork. How am I wrong for thinking this kind of artwork is gruesome? And anybody that would have that kind of artwork hanging up in their house or their business can't be legit, because there's no beauty in that. There's no education in that. It's not even like this isn't you try to throw it off in a medicine or a doctor book, and this is, showing how you would do a certain thing. This is just very graphic, very disturbing. So even in the art world, okay, these little children have been exposed to the visuals of things through artistry. And then we all know about the different lady who has the long dark hair that Lady Gaga and these other elites hung around. And she believes in people on tables decorated as meals. And, then they do different things like cut them open, and then the inside is like this red liquid and stuff. So that's just another form of exposure from the young kids to the adults to try to normalize this stuff in every different level, in every different way. So I just think that, God has to be saying, people step up, step out, be awake, be aware that these people are out there doing this. Pray. Now is not the time when it's coming against children. I'm telling you, I've said it before. It's one thing that adults are bad to other adults and all the crime and different things that adults do to each other, the bad things. But when it's innocent, these kids, God has a special place in his heart for the children. He calls them their innocence. You do not mess with that. You do not hurt them. You do not expose them in this way. This is how you know that it is like Sodom and Gomorrah, and it is the devil and negativity. And, we talk about spiritual battles all the time. You look at all these different award shows and how the deep red and the horns and all this is what they're celebrating, the kind of music that Doja Cat person and the outfit that she wore. I mean, when you have, and I think it was Lady Gaga had the pure red outfit with the pure red over her face, and then like a bunch of flames or horns coming up, at the Super Bowl, all these different things, these halftime shows or these performances, these celebrities put on, there's nothing good about it. Sam Shepard and that song Unholy, look at how that looked. Listen to that song and see what the lyrics mean. It's a very popular song. And because what happens is with music, a lot of times if the beat's good and the rhythm's good, people listen to it and they get along with it. They're dancing to it. Listen to the lyrics of what that song says and what that represents. Look at the video that Sam Shepard put out about that song, and it's going to be pretty clear. Look at the song Anaconda that's out there, My Anaconda, and you start singing it. You look at the video for that. Some of these people, females and males, celebrities, singers, artists, look at what they're showing you. Look at Katy Perry. Katy Perry came from a very spiritual, religious background, and something flipped on her. And you look at what she transitioned into, and you ask yourself, why? Is it for popularity? Is it for more attention? Or are people selling their souls to the devil? You hear and see videos of these just different artists saying things, and people laugh it off and say, oh, they're just saying that. It's not true. I'm sorry. You look at Madonna. Anybody? I grew up near Madonna. Look at how she's always been controversial. I'll give you that. She really has. But you look at how she looks now. And I don't care if it's fillers. I don't care what it is. That woman looks nothing like she did before. And you look at who she is with, what she promotes, the darkness to it, there's nothing happy, free, and joyful about it. Let's put it that way. Do artists have a right to do it and sing and create what they want? Yes. But when it comes to the children and you're incorporating children into it, or it's people under 18, just putting a warning on your music is not enough, because where there's a will, there's a way. These children can have access to getting it, obtaining it, or whatever. I don't think that's enough. I don't know what the answer is other than, just making people aware and realizing that it's just, to me, more dramatic and more evil as time goes on with this stuff. Yes, she transitioned into really a monster while having her son become a girl. That's happening a lot. You look at the changes, these celebrities, some of these celebrities, you guys, whether they're actors, whether they're singers, any kind of performer who've been in this industry a long time. They've made their millions or their billions or whatever it is. Ask yourself, why they didn't just quietly go away and live a good life? Ask why they wouldn't stay on the same pattern and path that they're going. Why do they have to switch to this nasty, demonic, dark stuff? Why does it have to be sexual, visual, dark? Ask yourself that. It makes no sense if you ask me. They could go away quietly. They could stay the way they are, and a lot of them don't. And I'll wrap this up with the thing with Mel Gibson. Do you guys remember how everybody laughed and teased Mel Gibson because he tried to talk about it, didn't he, back in the day? He tried to warn us. We've heard things about, oh, the casting couch. Oh, you know, we thought it was just theory. We thought, oh, that doesn't really happen. You can liken it to, and I'll get back to Mel in one second, but it brought up these young actors and actresses through Disney and these other shows that they were started off young and they became adults. Some of them didn't make it. Look at the exposure some of these young kids doing TV shows and movies, what they came out and have told you about what's happened to them, the trauma they endured, the sexualization of themselves, and the inappropriate behavior that occurred to them on these shows. So it's been happening for a while. And getting back to Mel Gibson, Mel was right. They tried to label him crazy. And I remember when he came out with all that, trying to expose these people and saying the nasty things they did, people laughed at him. Even me, I thought, oh my gosh, he's gone crazy. What are you even talking about? You know why? Because we weren't paying as much attention. It wasn't as out in the open as it is now. Now, the devil just laughs. The devil's like, I am out there. I am showing you right in your face. And people still don't believe it. Mel Gibson, they tried to take him out. They tried to cancel him. They tried to label him crazy and every bad thing you can think of to that man. And now, all these years later, look at how truly brave and truly sane and truly godly that man is. Because look what he's done with his career. Look what he's done with his life. And guess what? The devil didn't win. The enemy didn't win and weren't able to take him out. He made a comeback. You know why? Because he was protected by God, because he was doing the right thing by God. And that's what I believe we have to do, whether it's speaking out and it's uncomfortable or not, or going to our local school library and looking up certain books or looking at different sections and seeing what they have to offer there. We have to take some kind of action just to protect and educate the young mothers and fathers and the children. I do believe that there's a lot more good people in this world, God-fearing, God-believing good people in this world than there are bad. But I just believe that also the more that they get away with, the more they're going to do. And it's an attack on the psyche of the younger generations. The older generations, some of people don't want to believe it, or they don't want to see it, or some of them will say, you know what, this is terrifying, this is sad, and they have issues over it, and then they just don't want to deal with it anymore. What I'm saying is this is an attack on the human psyche, from the older adults all the way down to the young children. When you dive deep into this, it is no longer a rabbit hole or a theory. It's right in your face. You can look it up. You can see it, feel it, touch it. It isn't somebody just saying it or warning you what's coming down the pipes, or it's a rabbit hole of nothingness. It's there. It's happening. And it's our duty to pay attention to it and pray about it and make the changes that we can make with this for the children, to stay sane in an insane world, and actually watch how much of it you do watch. I always say you have to protect how long of an input you let something see and affect you, because there is so much negativity. Even doctors are saying don't watch news for more than a half an hour or so a day at a time. Don't leave it on all day. I grew up with the news on all day, every day. It's not healthy to do that anymore. Sometimes before you look into articles or you look into a story, maybe it's best to pray about it before you venture in. Put the armor of God on, yes, and make sure you're protected before you see that. Yes, Harvest Mary Moon, people are possessed and can act like so-called normal. They're not normal. Yes, they have to research it and shrink to name it. Yes, people, I really believe that it's not normal. They're trying to normalize it. That a lot of these people, and I don't mean to insult people, but they have mental issues. It's undiagnosed. There's been psychologists, sociologists, all these different specialists that have come out and said this is a mental illness with these people, these children not switching up and not knowing. There's famous people, so-called famous people out there, the Ken doll boy, the man that spent millions of dollars to get ribs taken out, had muscles put in, chest muscles put in, to become the perfect Ken doll looking man. He's from a different country. I forget where he's from. But after a while, he decided, guess what? I don't feel like a man. I feel like a woman. Now he's spent millions more, hundreds of thousands more to transition to a woman. He's a woman now. And the amount of trauma his body has gone through with removing ribs, and he has documentaries about him of the different things that he's had done to his body. Doctors have to be held accountable too. These doctors that keep performing these surgeries on people, it is insanity to me. I know it can only be about money, because they know they're not helping them. If these doctors did all these changes to this man to make him the man he wanted to be, the Ken doll, and then years later he decides he wants to be Barbie, and then they're performing surgeries to make him a female, that's not helping somebody. That's not, to me, that's about the bottom line, the dollar. And the love of money is what ruins people. And it isn't money, it's the love of money. So to me, these doctors that perform this, they're not helping. It's about money. And, I'll be so brazen as out there and give my opinion on the doctors that perform these surgeries on young children under 18. It's for the money too. It's for the love of money. It is not helping a child. They know themselves what they were children. They know they couldn't make dramatic decisions like this. Their brain can't make decisions like that and know 100% for sure. For gosh sakes, they can't even remember. Boys, teenagers can't even remember to change their underwear or their socks or throw their dirty clothes in the laundry. They're just disturbingly stinky, disgusting teenage boys are. You're going to tell me the teenage boy says, I feel like a woman, and you're going to take his word for it, or vice versa? It's just, we just need to really just have some logic. I think that the pendulum has swung too far to try to be accepting of and tolerant of everything, where we lost focus and we lost paying attention to what is logical and what's real and what is coming from God. And so much of this stuff is not coming from God and is not coming from logic. It's coming from, to me, insanity, mental illness, and all that other stuff. So, hey, Independent Mary United, good to see you. So I just believe that prayer is the way out of this. And yeah, doctors do make a lot of money off pain meds and people. And like I said, we shut a lot of our mental institutions down. A lot of people that are on the street need mental help. We know people in our own families or friends' families that need mental help, and they just want to dope them up with a bunch of medicine and or pills and not give them the treatments they need. And we need to shy away from that too. I just think that not trying to insult people, mental challenges and mental illnesses are real. And I do believe that's what a lot of it is, when you're lost track of who you are as a human, let alone if you think that you're an animal, because that's a thing now too, that if you're a we, they, he, she, all these pronouns is one thing. But when you have, and it's, somebody said, the litter box in the classroom, where is that at? I thought it was Texas or something, because they have it in there because the children, if they want to feel like they're an animal or whatever, there's a litter box in there to make them more comfortable. I'm not saying that they use it. I didn't hear that. I just saw a picture and somebody saying there's an actual litter box in the school. I haven't researched that anymore. That may be hearsay. That may be an extreme that somebody's making up. But I'll tell you what, with the way everything's going now, it's more believable than them saying that boys can be boys and girls can be girls. They're just trying to eliminate both sexes, in my opinion, and making everybody just confused. When you have people that are torn apart and they're not unified and they can't communicate, then there's power in that, because then you can control the people. What's going to happen? Who's going to be working in this country? These people, these teenagers, are more focused on becoming the opposite sex than they are about their careers or what they're going to do for a living or getting an education. All of a sudden, this is the new thing to do, so they're doing it. They're more concerned about what clothes they're going to wear, what kind of nail polish they're going to have on these men. The men want to keep the beard, but they're still wearing eyeshadow. I mean, that in itself, it's lunacy to me. It really is. And until somebody proves to me that there's a benefit to this with our children, I'm just going to say it's from the devil, and I'll fight it every step of the way, however I can. And I know that most of you listening and seeing agree too. I don't want harm to come to any child. I'm not saying that people don't have confusion. I don't say that people don't have mental confusion, but when we enable bad behavior, just more bad behavior comes out of it. People need treatment. People need understanding. People need to be able to talk about issues. You're telling me teenagers don't know how to talk to parents about different things, but they know that they want to become male or female, and that's from 0 to 100. It just I can't make sense out of it. So with that, I want to thank each and every one of you once again for joining me tonight. I'm glad I was able to get this out there and do this today. It's just something that I think that the focus needs to be on out there, and I'm hoping that more truthers, more people will bring this out there and shine the light on it, because this is just another different level of atrocities that are happening out there to our kids, and we need to do what we can do, like I said, to put a stop to it. So thank you all once again for joining me tonight. I appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of your evening, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.